I like to have like three tiers of what I do: art, photography, and menswear. Like YouTube is like the purest expression of what I do, and it's what I prioritize as well. And I'm looking to not only get monetized, but create videos that make a difference for people, because I know I came from a point where there are all these things I didn't learn in art school around business. I mean, I learned the technique and everything, but there were a lot of business things that I didn't really understand, and I had to find my way. So a big part of the channel is going to be passing along what I know to other people.
Fork in the road between thriving and starving artists is where I'm at. I really like your work. I can't eat lights. I need new heights. Just want to make a living doing the work I love. Throw the notion of a starving artist out of the window. Take the elevator down to the ground floor and jump on it some more.
Hello and welcome to A Fork in the Road again, and today we're lucky enough to have Raheem Nelson back at The Fork in the Road. Welcome, Raheem. How are you going?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back without all the Manhattan traffic.
And just for everyone who's missed that last episode with Raheem, Raheem does graphic recording. He's an illustrator, primarily on the iPad, a photographer, a vlogger. You're kind of everywhere in artistic fields, fashion.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What have you been up to these last few months?
Definitely. So I'll start with a magazine appearance that I had. I have it here with me, actually. So for people watching on camera, they'll be able to see that. Milford City Lifestyle. This is a local magazine to Milford, Connecticut. And they interviewed me. It was a photo shoot, and I got to give my opinions on style, how I style myself, how I dress, and why menswear is important to me. So that was a phenomenal feature. I really enjoyed it. We had 2 days of photo shoots. I work with photographer Jimmy Einer, who's actually photographed Michael Jackson when he was alive. So being able to work with such a prolific photographer was amazing. And the makeup was done by my good friend Christina Foreman from Makeup. And it was just a phenomenal day. I really enjoyed just how it came out, and just having like a physical media is always like really important to me. Like, despite being a digital artist, I love having physical media. So being in a magazine, especially for my style and my fashion, was like over the moon about it. Like, it's just been a dream come true.
Yeah, that's really cool. And what did you, because you're a fantastic photographer in your own right, anyone who's seen your selfie style shots of you showing what you're wearing and things like that, what did you learn from such an experienced photographer being the subject of?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm always open to learning new things. I think photography is where it's all neck and neck, but I have the most training as a visual artist. Then it's probably like photography and then menswear blogging after that. But I feel like I'm excelling at all three. But working with such an expert like him and being on the other side of the lens, I just got to see how meticulous Jimmy was with the way he set up the lights. He would move things around the table to make sure maybe certain things were blurred in frame while I was in focus. And I would still be able to see that these objects were there. Like, just looking at the magazine cover, like, this was like the last shoot of the day. And he wanted to have the bow tie undone, and the magazine editor agreed. So it's like just kind of the end of a night out, coming back for tea or water or something. And it just kind of paints that picture of this narrative through line that's in the magazine. So like a story within a story. So what I respect about Jimmy, aside from like just the amazing clients that he has had, just like he's very, very meticulous. And that's a characteristic I feel like I also share as well. So I was just soaking up a lot of knowledge from the things that he would do during the shoot. Like, it was just really cool to watch him work in real time, and just really humble guy too.
Yeah, cool. And what does, you're talking about what style means to you, what does that mean to you?
Style means to me self-expression. It is one of my areas of self-expression. And it's the kind of thing and I'll reference the just past gig I had. An artist going to a meeting or just going to a cafe or something in a suit and tie, like it, it speaks volumes. It stops people in their tracks because we're in such a culture where it's very casual. I think people are starting to dress up a bit here and there, but like I'm the type of person that enjoys doing it on a regular basis. Like unless I'm going to work and maybe I have to do something physical, I'm most likely going to be wearing a suit, especially if I have a client meeting. So what it means to me is self-expression, respecting a venue, respecting myself, and starting and sparking a conversation. Like I love being able to step in a space and feeling like I have power, authority, and creativity. Because I'm in positions where I'm charging clients a certain amount of money, and maybe that's not something they're used to paying, like especially for a graphic recorder. Maybe they don't even know what a graphic recorder is. I deal with clients all the time where they're unsure of what the skill is, and then I'm telling them about it. And in some cases, my reputation precedes me. Like, oh, the well-dressed artist, he wears suits, he does this, he does that. So I like that contrast of wearing a suit and suit being associated with maybe either political figures, lawyer, somebody in more of a non-creative field, but combining that with the creative. So I really love the contrast. I love being able to take what I do as an artist with color theory and all that stuff and combining it. Like today, I just wore different shades of gray, and I like being able to kind of scale up in terms of color or scale down. Like maybe I'm going to be in an environment where the focus is on the speaker and I'm graphic recording. So I'm not going to wear like a colorful suit and take attention away from them, but I still want to be put together. So this is like a look I would utilize for that. So like I love just thinking about how color impacts people. Like if I'm wearing a blue suit, blue could mean trust. If I'm wearing a burgundy suit, that's like a bold peacock type of suit. Maybe I'm wearing that to a different kind of dinner, evening event sort of thing. So the colors matter. Putting it together matters. Like I like wearing a full Windsor knot, and that gets like a reputation for certain things, but I enjoy wearing it. And I enjoy just taking these things that have may historically seemed one way and just kind of flipping them.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and I like the idea of how the different colors we all kind of have heard about how kind of colors kind of elicit different kind of emotions, and it's interesting that you're thinking incredibly deeply on the style level when going into something like that. And
Yeah.
one thing for people who are not watching the video, Raheem's glasses are very iconic, and I think that kind of like it's always like a nice touch on top of like the suit look, because it's still something that shows, it says you're a creative person pretty much, you know.
Thanks. Yeah, I love these glasses. This is my favorite pair by far. And it's from a brand that I work with from time to time called Fitu. And they discovered my Instagram through the videos and the photos that I post. And they saw that I wear glasses. And they're like, oh, okay, we'd like to gift you some glasses in exchange for making content. And so this was one of the pairs I selected. And they're transitions. So they turn into sunglasses when I go outside. And when I got them in the mail, I was like, oh, this might be like too much, like compared to some of the more reserved glasses I have. But
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, you know what? Like I can work this into my style. And for me, these glasses are like a focal point, especially if I'm wearing a more subdued suit like this, where it's just various grays, it blends in. Whereas these stand out, like whether I'm wearing those glasses or if they turn to sunglasses and I go outside. And I think they look especially nice with a pinstripe suit because these kind of favor pinstripes, comic book strip, and then it just kind of all flows together. So I really enjoy wearing glasses that tell a story. And when I think of these glasses, I think of the fact that I got into art as a cartoonist, and that's why I went to school for it too.
Yeah, that's cool. And when I see like icon, I think it through iconic glasses in history and in recent history, I was kind of really hooked on the YouTube videos of Casey Neistat, and one thing that I find interesting is you're now gone into the world of vlogging and you're being very consistent on YouTube. I'm just wondering if you wanted to talk a little bit kind of how you approach YouTube and being consistent, because it looks like you're having very good growth because you're being consistent. It's one of those key things they talk about on YouTube. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned YouTube. YouTube is definitely the cornerstone of my social media strategy as an artist. For my Instagram, I have all of that divided out into the things I'm interested in. So one account for art, one account for style, and one account for photography. Whereas my approach to YouTube was like, you know what, I'll take these three things and put them into one channel. I mean, I could have done the same thing where I just have three different channels. It was like, you know what, I want one place on the web where I get to express everything that I do. And I'm doing it in a strategic way. I found a lot of success through YouTube Shorts, and that's for the most part geared towards art with some style as well. And then for the long form content, I'm actually making these mini movies now, like cinematic vlogs where I talk about my day. Maybe I'm graphic recording, maybe I'm going to work, and having it where I film these talking head videos in my studio, and then I'll intersplice that with B-roll. That's like the formula I've been developing for like the past 2 years since I like revitalized my YouTube channel, just figuring out what it was going to be like. And I just figured like, hey, like I have a lot to say as an artist, as somebody that likes to travel, that likes culture, that likes menswear. And I wanted vlogging to be one of the pieces of the channel where I get to create vlogs that are also educational and entertain, and looking at other YouTube channels and figuring out a way where I can make it authentic to me. Because like it's cool to like just talk about my day, but like I want there to be an educational component behind it. I want there to be a part of it where I'm like filming things from cool angles and really capturing someone's attention that's watching. And speaking of that, my most recent vlog was about Miami. And this was something that I filmed, edited while I was there, maybe like 5, 6 months ago. And it was something that I sat on and I scheduled it for a later date because I had so much other footage that I wanted to get out and I wanted to make sure that this was right. And just the feedback I've been getting on it has been really great, because when it comes to how I film, how I edit and all that stuff, it comes from my cartooning background. And for me, cartooning and film are closely related, where you've got like a splash page, an action page, maybe dialogue, different panels, so to speak, where you have one character here on one side of the room, and then on another side of the room, you have another character. So I take my comic book background, and I take my photography background, and then that has informed how I film things. I wanted to tell an entire story, and the story being my wife and I were going to Miami. We're going to the American Black Film Festival, and we were also doing our own event. So it was like multiple things. So I made time during the trip to sit down and talk about what was happening in real time, and then combine that with B-roll, me walking around, us going to different venues, and then having music as an overlay for that too. And I use a royalty-free site called Upbeat, because I want to make sure I have really great sounding music that is sourced in an ethical way and sourced in a way where I don't have to worry about YouTube coming down on my channel for taking music. So that's been like a godsend using that. And I just look forward to having a channel that is all these different things, not overwhelmingly so. I like to have like 3 tiers of what I do: art, photography, and menswear. Like YouTube is like the purest expression of what I do, and it's what I prioritize as well. And I'm looking to not only get monetized, but create videos that make a difference for people, because I know I came from a point where there are all these things I didn't learn in art school around business. I mean, I learned the technique and everything, but there were a lot of business things that I didn't really understand, and I had to find my way. So a big part of the channel is going to be passing along what I know to other people.
Yeah, that's cool. One thing I've noticed about, because I'm a bit of a YouTube geek, and I listen to all the podcasts about how to grow a YouTube channel. And one thing like I always notice is you've got to niche down. Like, so like if you were getting
Right.
advice if you were getting advice from
Exactly.
one of the gurus, you would have
Yeah.
your fashion channel, You would have your illustration channel. You'd
Yep.
have your photography channel. That's a
Yep.
lot of channels and a lot of stuff, a lot of streams to organize.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but what I really like is you've blended it in such a way that it really seems to work, and it is working. The proof's in the numbers. You can see it's growing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't always believe what you hear from the gurus, I think,
Great. Yeah.
in terms of that, because I feel like having all these different facets just gives people a deeper understanding of you and can connect with you in a deeper way rather than
Yeah.
just doing the fashion or just doing the illustration or whatever.
I agree. Yeah. I didn't want it to be a surface level type of channel, like at all. I mean, I'm just getting into some more nuance in these vlogs and these talk videos, talking about things like perseverance and taking something that was maybe unsuccessful and turning it into a success.
Just a quick intermission to say that the Fork in the Road podcast has a Patreon as well, where you get a whole bunch of special things. You get an extended hour-long advert-free things, like you get to ask the podcast guests questions. You get a blog where I deep dive things which, you know, might help make you successful and me successful, because I'm learning along the way too. You can also chat with me one-on-one and talk about your art business and make it work together. Back to the interview.
I think for me, using AI for text descriptions, video titles is where it stops for me. It's not something I see myself using to generate or create the art. And, you know, more power to those that do, as long as it's ethical. I think I mentioned on the last podcast, a good friend of mine uses AI for his artwork, and he claims that is what it is, which I appreciate. He's not trying to hide it or anything. And for me, like, despite being a mobile digital artist that uses layers and different settings for their work, it's still art that's being created freehand. Like, even if I'm tracing like a logo or something, I want it to look just right. Like, I'm still doing it by hand. I'm still making decisions. I don't want to have a computer generate an entire image for me that I can't, you know, illustrate or paint myself. Like, there's just something that I want to be able to infuse into my work. Even if it's digital, I want it to have a soul to it. And I love being able to sketch or paint traditionally or digitally and be able to claim that ownership over the work. Whereas AI, like, I think it's just a bit too far for me in terms of generating the artwork.
Yeah, I I know a lot of well, I've spoken to a few AI artists on the podcast, and I think it seems the thing that separates their artwork from kind of like a lot of, you know, what people call AI slop is is the fact that they come into it with a pure vision to start with, like
Yeah.
the storytelling or the idea, what they want. They know what they want,
Yeah.
but they don't have the tools to be able to develop it. Say like
Right.
I need this shot of all these people running down a hill or something like that, and I don't have 50 or 60 extras.
Right.
I don't have the hill because I want a hill in, you know, Europe or something like that, and I'm in Australia. But you've got this vision for a story, and so I think that's kind of the important bit when it comes to AI artists that are, you know, putting out good work.
Yeah.
Ones are the ones that are more so restricted by the tools they have on hand, and rather than just going, oh yeah, that image is cool, I'll
Yeah.
put it out into the world, because
Yeah, exactly.
because the people I talk to who are using AI to create art, they are going through, you know, many versions, and they're tweaking it in Photoshop, and they're like
Yeah,
doing,
yeah, yeah.
you know, there's, and like even back in the day, Photoshop was considered to be cheating as well,
Yeah,
and
I remember. Yeah.
yeah, and even sometimes when I'm working in Procreate on the iPad, because you know about this, like I
Yeah.
find I'll do a sketch of an animal, and I'm going, man, the dimensions on this are kind of off a bit, and then I'll like take my, what do you call it, the reference photo,
Yeah.
which I was drawing from, and I go, oh yeah, that bit's way too big, and
Right.
you can actually get the sketch and like manipulate it around in digital, and you go, now that feels like cheating to me. But yeah, there's all these elements to it, and finding our way with an ethical use of AI
Yeah,
is going to be
exactly.
a constant battle for everyone, I
Yeah,
think.
definitely.
But yeah, I was definitely thinking about that with your comics because when I first started out, I was from a filmmaking background, and I have many scripts, a couple of which are storyboarded, and I'm getting to the point where I'm seeing what's coming out, and going, man, I could, if I sat down and really learnt this, I
Yeah.
could probably make a film by myself instead of having 200 people involved.
Yeah, that's my thinking too.
Yeah. But then there's the employment of all those people, but I never would have made the
Right.
films in the first place. So yeah, yeah. That's what goes round and round in my head. Yeah. So and back to your work, what are you working on right now? You're talking about graphic recording, and you said you had a bit of a quiet spell, but then it came back strong.
Yep.
Yeah, how's all that going?
It's going well. I have clients for this month and next month, and I just booked a client for December as well. So word of mouth is really helping a lot. People have funding and they want to invest in graphic recording, and I think they're seeing the value in it, that it's adding something to their meetings. So for me, the next level of expansion looks like traveling more for graphic recording. I've done that type of work with different agencies. Like I've worked a lot with an agency based in New York and London and Chicago, I believe. It's called Drawing Booth, and they've been great. And I love working with them. And I also want to be able to foster my own art business, Raheem Nelson Art, where clients are booking me directly to travel to different places. The client I have in December, they are going to be taking care of my travel accommodations and everything, and they'll be in Washington, D.C. So that's going to be a multi-day graphic recording gig. And it's just the type of work that I want to get more of. I want to be able to have one assignment that would basically pay me for the month or several months. And conference work is definitely the way to do that. I'd love to just go to a different city, maybe that I haven't been before, and then graphic record for a few days and then go home. And if an organizer has the budget and they want to have something exciting, I think graphic recording is a great add-on to that. Like it just gets people lit up. People can get it as a deliverable postcard or whatever by the end of it. And it just really helps with audience retention. So the next step will be doing conferences virtually. Preference would be on doing in person also.
Yeah. When you do a graphic recording gig, is that's pretty much what you're selling to the customer is that live visual recording, or do they get the illustrations at the end of it? Kind of what does the package include?
Sure. So the package is they're getting the live work, they're getting the time-lapse video that comes from Procreate, and the deliverables being the finished illustrations. They can get it as a PNG, JPEG, PDF, whatever they need. I might start integrating a printing process right then and there for attendees, where they could, have an upcharge and then they'll get printouts by the end of it. That was something I was talking to my friend today earlier about having that add-on. But yeah, they're getting the time-lapse video, the artwork, and I make sure that I get that to the client by the end of the project. So if I'm there on like the 30th or whatever, they'll have it before I leave the job site. And that's just the way I like to work. Like I'm asking for a deposit up front and then the back half when I'm on site. So when everything's all said and done, I like to make sure that the client has all the artwork, and I make sure I proofread everything before it gets delivered to them. And they'll
Yeah.
have the time-lapse video as well. And the time-lapse video is definitely one of the big features and highlights for the client, I think, because it's like easy to put on social media, and you could add a voiceover or a musical track to it. and it's just like coming together, like if you were at the conference or the talk.
Yeah. I just had a thought just then. I'm just wondering it could be an extra kind of piece to your package puzzle, but like I don't know if you get the audio, a copy of the audio as well, but it's the potential for the business to do, like if a business has a social media presence, they could have their talk or their conference divided up into reels and shorts and things like that, with the animation, like those kind of animations which are happening as the voice is happening on the
Yeah,
reel,
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay.
something like that. And you could do it with subtitles and burn in the subtitles and have a clear recording from the speakers as that's going on. And you could give them a dozen reels from highlights of the event as an
That
extra thing.
sounds brilliant. And if I run with that, like I'm crediting you. That's great. I like that. Because the DJI mic that I have, I use it as a field recorder. So it would be
Hmm.
easy to just, as I'm working, turn it on and then the speaker, it's picking up the audio.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that'll be cool. I definitely use the Pocket 3 for time-lapse videos as I'm graphic recording. It's like any job site turns into like potential social media content for me as well. It's usually just capturing my hands working and then the words coming up on the iPad.
Yeah. The thing that made it really easy for me, I don't use them now because they're too expensive. But there's this software which you can, because I'll do this with the podcast. You enter in the entire video, hour-long video, and it goes through and picks out, say, 20 highlights, what it thinks are highlights, which are usually pretty spot on. And that way you could do that with your presentation. You could upload the presentation video into that. The AI will go through and find highlights. It'll give you descriptions, titles, and hashtags optimized for search. And then you just go in and tweak all of those with the subtitles and that, and it cut your editing time down
Yeah,
massively.
that's cool.
So some good tools out there. I don't use that one anymore because
I
it's
hear
too much.
it. It adds up.
It's just too much. Yeah, all these subscriptions. Everything's a subscription these days.
Yeah, so much money.
That's why I like Procreate for drawing so much. It was just a
Me
one-time
too. They are
payment,
the best.
and yeah, so good.
Hmm.
Cool. Well, thanks very much,
Oh, of
Raheem,
course, that's great.
for joining me again. Is there anything else you want to hit on before we sign off? Or
Yeah, before we sign off, the last thing being two major projects I'm working on right now. I'm in a cohort through a program called Yale Ventures, Yale New Haven College. And basically, by the end of it, after we're getting all this business education, I hope to pitch an idea for a big arts festival in the Arts District of New Haven, Audubon Street, where I attended classes at the Educational Center for the Arts, which was pretty much like art college before art college. I took classes there during high school, and I really want to get into doing major events for creatives. So this would be step one. The next thing I'm working on is my next exhibition, which is going to center around another comic book I'm working on based on the new album from the hip hop duo Clips. They created an album called Let God Sort 'Em Out, along with Pharrell and other various artists and collaborators that they work with. And I'm taking each track, like I did with Sky Zoo and his album, and turning that into an art book. So it combines my love of fine art and impressionistic painting with comic books. So each track is going to have a painting or illustration attached to it, and I'll probably do another limited edition run when the books are completed and introduce them at the art show.
that sounds awesome. So with the why are you doing a limited edition run? Do you find that just creates more interest around buying it and the scarcity of it all? Or yeah, what's your approach with limited editions with that kind of thing?
The approach is definitely in part scarcity creating value, and then just also considering that the artwork is based on music, intellectual properties, and I never try to overstay my welcome too long. Like I consider part of what I do pop art, creating artwork based on popular culture, usually music in this case. It's just something I'm passionate about. And if it turns into like an actual collaboration with the artist, like with Sky Zoo, it can take on a life of its own, that sort of thing. With Sky Zoo's book, it happened to also be referencing the art style of the Peanuts, and that's one of the major reasons why we decided to do it in the short term. For Clips, I don't have a relationship with them. I'm doing artwork inspired by their music. So I want to make sure that it's going to be a limited run, get people excited, scarcity creating value, and avoiding any kind of intellectual property type of situation. So I'm paying homage to the music, but it is what it is. So I'm definitely a fan of the limited run, and I look forward to just seeing how things pan out.
Yeah. And did that come about because of the Sky Zoo project that you did?
I think it was inspired by it. When I listen to an album and I really connect with it, sometimes I'll create art. And I think I started with like a one-off, and I was like, you know what? I think there's something here. I think I'd like to turn this into a series. And it's been like a few months since I did a series anyway, so I figured I would just go for it.
Cool. And you approached them, or did they approach you? How did all that work?
No, this is unrelated to them. This is more like I was inspired by the music and I wanted to create a project. Versus with Sky Zoo, I actually have a relationship with him, and we worked together on other projects before that.
Yeah.
But hopefully I get to meet them. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely make sure you tag them all the time.
Oh, I am. I definitely am.
Well, thank you very much for joining me again, and
My pleasure.
look forward to catching up with you and seeing what you're up to in the future.
Definitely. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you so much for listening to the Fork in the Road podcast, or watching the Fork in the Road podcast. For those people watching on Patreon, we also have it as a video on Spotify and YouTube. If you like the idea of chatting with artists, talking about how you go from starving to thriving, how you become a successful artist, whatever that means to you, whatever a thriving artist means. If you like this kind of thing, you can support the podcast in many ways. Apart from becoming a Patreon, you can just share it with your friends, or you could leave a review on iTunes. I think iTunes do review. Whoever does reviews, if you look in your podcast channel, if it allows you to do a review, or if you're watching on YouTube, please comment, please like, and I won't be one of those podcasts that go, you got to give a 5-star review. If there's something about the podcast you don't like, let me know. Write it in the comments and see if I can, tweak it a little bit to make it work better for everybody. But yeah, 5-star review would be pretty awesome. But anyway, check you next time.